Hey guys, what's up? It's Glavian, and the way that I've decided to play Final Fantasy XIV is to just beeline the main story quests and only stop every 5 levels to do my job quests. And the reason why is because I think the main story quest is very fun, and that's just the approach I take to narrative games in general. I did the same thing in Witcher 3, and then once I was done with the MSQ, then I'd go back and explore. But then someone in my free company told me, no, dude, I would recommend you doing some of the other blue quests. And the reason why is because you will unlock things that you will find important, such as glamour, such as these sorts of things. I'm like, oh, do I have to? They're like, you don't have to, but we really recommend you do it. I mean, you can skip the ones that are involved with professions, but the ones that unlock things, you probably want to do those. So I'm like, okay, fine. And so I'm doing these blue quests, and honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The first one that I did unlocked the ability for me to get haircuts and stuff over in the inn. And yesterday, I got over to the one that ended me up in a place called the Manderville Golden Saucer. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, dude? And then I get over there and there's Kirby over there on the wall, in freaking tinted glass. I'm like, okay, well, this is cool. And to be honest, it was kind of overwhelming. There was just so much to learn. And it was just one blue quest after one blue quest after one blue quest. And, I ended up exchanging some gil for MGP. And then I went ahead and I did triple triad. And like I was trying to figure out how to use that and building a deck. And I did, and it was fun. And I liked the music, I liked the place, but I just didn't feel like doing it. Not because I didn't think it was going to be fun per se, only because I just wanted to focus on the MSQ. I liked the MSQ. And so guess what I did? I left the Golden Saucer to go do the MSQ. And the profundity of that decision, of that game design, hit me in that instant. Because when I did the Shadowlands campaign in World of Warcraft, I wouldn't be able to do that. If I got bored during a piece of content, there was no way I could say, oh, let me go do a different piece of content and do this either later or never. No, I had to do it if I wanted to go through and do the other stuff because other things were locked behind this campaign. And I never really even hit level 60 in Shadowlands because the campaign was just that boring. But the same thing applies after the fact, I hear, as well, with Chorgast and, all of these bars you have to fill. And so the profundity of logging in, finding a piece of content that I didn't even think was bad content, that I thought it would be fun, but that I could do later. And to choose not to do it, to do the piece of content I wanted to, and then to be able to return to it later or never was so refreshing. And other MMOs do this in a more subtle way as well. When I played old school RuneScape, the way that I approached it is thinking, how can I win at this game? That's usually how people approach games. They think, how can I win at this game? And so, me not knowing much about the game, thought to myself, okay, maybe if you trained agility first, it'll make you fast and it'll let you run longer. And if you could run faster and longer, then everything else in the game after that will become easier and quicker and more expedited. And that was kind of my logic. And so, even though I didn't have to go and train agility for hours upon hours, which was extremely tedious, by the way, in old school RuneScape, even though I didn't, have to, I felt like I had to because if I didn't, I would have been put at a disadvantage. And that isn't the case here as well in Final Fantasy. What disadvantage am I put at if I don't do the Golden Saucer right now? Or even ever? Sure, I might miss out on some prize pools potentially. Sure, I might miss out on the experience. And of course, I might miss out on whatever rewards. And I'm not really that familiar with the Manderville Golden Saucer. I don't know if you get cosmetics out of it or what. It was my first time there yesterday. But from my understanding, it's not like I have to do anything there or feel like I have to, even though it's not technically necessary in order to play the game how I want and in order to advance my character. And this got me thinking about the differences between internal and external motivation and external motivation is something that I see drive some people in games, and it's kind of curious to me how and why this works. So, for example, I had a buddy who was a Mythic WoW raider, and my friend, would complain a lot about the game. He would say, "Well, I hate doing chore gasts, and I don't like doing all these dailies, but I do them anyway, so then I could do the content that I like to do." And the content that he liked to do were running high-end mythic keys, which is just very hard dungeons in World of Warcraft, and mythic raids. And my friend, he is the type of person who feels a strong sense of accountability to people. So he shows up to these things, even if he doesn't feel like it, even if he doesn't want to play, so he doesn't let his team down. And so, because he's doing it to not let his team down, this is something that he's doing because he's extrinsically motivated to do so. But when you're doing something because you're extrinsically motivated to do it, that means it's going to require willpower for you to get it done. And so, like, my first instinct was like, well, then doesn't this turn into a job? Doesn't this just turn into something? Doesn't that willpower that you're using towards this game, couldn't that go towards, actual things in your life outside of what should be leisure and what should be fun, and what should be fulfilling in that way? And now he's come to agree with me. But at this time, he kind of did treat it like a job, and it did make the rest of his life suffer because he did have these commitments to his guild, and sometimes that would detract, and because he prioritized his sense of accountability over a lot of other things in his life. This was something that he did at the expense of other things, and so to see a game that has kind of taken a return to form and understand itself to be a game. It knows it's a game because that's what games are supposed to be. You play them when they're fun, and when they're not fun, you don't play them. Otherwise, they're not games anymore. Now they become chores or jobs. It's literally just that simple, And for Final Fantasy, you simultaneously take itself very seriously with a very deep narrative, but understand at the same time this is a game. Drop it when you're not having fun. Come back when you are. Is a breath of fresh air, and it's really the first time I've experienced this game design in an MMO, basically ever. Except maybe besides vanilla. But even in vanilla, like, if your friends got vanilla WoW, that is, if your friends got too far in front of you in terms of level and you felt like you were behind, you felt like you were compelled to play so you could keep up with them, so you can keep playing with them. So really, this is the genuine first time where I feel absolutely no FOMO and no pressure to just log in and do what I want. And I just got to Menphilia. I just met the Scions, and I haven't gotten bored of the MSQ yet. But if I do, if the day comes where I'm bored of the MSQ, maybe I'll go try out the Golden Saucer. And that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.